start, Keith, with you, a question for you. If you could talk again about an example of a case, maybe a specific example of a case where the business owner implemented changes to increase value. One of our attendees wanting an example of that.
Sure. I had an instance business. They were doing about $50 million in revenue at the end, but they started out with only $3 million in revenue. So they went from $3 million to $50 million. And the way they did that was by bringing in the right people for production. It was a construction company in the framing business, and they had a wonderful vice president they brought in to oversee the subcontractors in terms of the field operations. They had another vice president who worked on the acquisition of lumber material. So they supplied both the lumber as well as the labor force for the framing industry. And then they had a wonderful CFO that they had who had tremendous abilities in terms of the financial reporting, so they could key in on how to make the most profit from both the lumber that they provided to the frame to their customer through the framing as well as the labor, and they had it really narrowed down key component points in the financial reporting to really have drivers in the business to know if they did a sale of the business in a upstream merger, all the value that would go to their, what was presently a customer that they were doing all this work for. So between the management team for overseeing the labor, the management team overseeing the purchasing of lumber, and the CFO with financial reporting and overall operations, they had a great team, and they would meet every week. Every week the team would meet, strategize for the subsequent week, look at the results by week of what they were doing and other projects as they occurred. And they had tremendous computer systems. So at the end of the day, it added tremendous value in negotiating the sale in an upstream sale to a customer who basically vertically integrated their business into their construction business. So it really worked out very well.
Thank you so much, Keith. Chris, do you have thoughts on that or an example you'd like to share?
No, I think Keith did a nice job covering that.
That's great. So, Chris, a question for you from one of our attendees, and of course, Keith, feel free to respond after Christopher answers. But are there situations in which there may be no damage, even if liability is found?
So yeah, I think in certain situations, it might just be the fact that there are no damages, even if liability is found in a particular case. And where we often see this is in looking at. I mean, we talked a little about this in my presentation, looking at subsequent events, right? And for example, if a manufacturer, and we've seen this recently, a manufacturer may not have the capacity to meet the demand that manufacturer may have lost, or the sales that manufacturer may have lost, then there may actually be no damages, and that just might be the harsh reality for the plaintiff. So it is sort of a unique situation, but occasionally we see situations where there are no damages in a particular case.